Much like Voldemort in Order of the Phoenix, in the words of Cornelius Fudge, he's back. So my Harry Potter fans will get that reference. For those who are not, don't worry about it. Tony Stubblefield is back with Oregon. He had been an assistant on Dana Altman's staff for a while, went to go take the head coaching job at DePaul. And if you look at the history of DePaul men's basketball, it's not an easy job. It is not an easy job. Didn't work out for him over there, but he is back with Oregon now on staff. So, couple of things here. First of all, my initial reaction was, does this mean the moves are about to show up? Don't know. I've been asked that question for a while here on the show. I'll continue asking until Oregon, announces moves out of the transfer portal. But I think that the Ducks have got transfer portal needs, and I feel like you wouldn't announce that an assistant coach, this had been rumored for a while, right? He was showing up at the Pac-12 tournament, and he was just around Oregon basketball all the time. So, maybe there's a legal or HR reason as to why they waited until now. But when you want to generate, some offseason headlines and momentum and everything like that, I think it makes sense logically to say, okay, we have an assistant coach coming back who was, so good with us before that he was hired to be a head coach at a Power 5 program elsewhere, and he's back on our staff now. And then you kind of let that news marinate for a little bit. And next week, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Oregon starts to announce one or two additions via the transfer portal. Everydayers know I want Tony Perkins from Iowa, Umar Ballo from Arizona. You get those two guys, chef's kiss. That would be fantastic. Now, this question came from Bud regarding Tony Stubblefield as to whether or not he could be a head coach in waiting if Dana were to retire or, whatever could happen there, right? I have not seen Dana Altman's name tied to any job openings out there. The coaching carousel is kind of crazy, but the Kentucky job was open. Looks like they're hiring Mark Pope from BYU, and I don't think Dana Altman's going anywhere. And I don't think Stubblefield would be the automatic head coach in waiting there because of how it went at DePaul. Now, that's a tough job. Oregon's a better job. But would you say that Oregon is as easy of a basketball job as it is a football job? No, I would definitely not make that contention. I'd in fact argue the opposite. So I think Stubblefield is tied to Dana, and if Dana were to retire, let's say in 2 or 3 years' time, or 4 or 5 years' time, because again, we just got reminded this guy can really coach. Oregon went from the NIT to should have been in the Sweet 16 really quick. Dana can still coach, and I don't think there's any hurry. I've got no hurry to push Dana Altman, towards retirement because the guy's really good. 20-plus wins every year he's been with the Ducks. Never lost a first-round postseason tournament game. This year was just so exciting and so thrilling, and I think that he's got a lot of positive momentum with the program right now. I don't think Stubblefield is viewed as a head coach in waiting there. I think whenever Dana does decide to retire, let's say it's 3 years from now, just hypothetically, I think Oregon would conduct a national search and find the best candidate that they could. Couple other notes on men's basketball here. And baseball's got an upcoming series with USC. They split with Sacramento State earlier this week. Bad pitching day. Michael Friend had a great outing last week and a bad one against Sac State. Allowed a 7 spot in the first, but no major harm done. Oregon bounced back, hit the ball all over the yard in the second game, and got the win. So they split with the Hornets. That's not that big of a deal. But USC having a solid start to the year. Anyway, that's just a side note there. Cario Oquendo is in the transfer portal. I never expected him to come back to Oregon. He walked at senior day or took part in the senior day festivities. So I never was in the frame of mind, to be honest with you, I was in the frame of mind that he was out of eligibility, but I guess he's got another year. But, he was a guy that came off the bench for the Ducks this past season, and I think had a smaller role, particularly as the year went on, than he was anticipating. So that's 2 guys off the bench that Oregon has lost, in addition to Mo Diawara being out of eligibility. No Oquendo, no Brandon Rigsby, no Mo Diawara. So depth is still a need for the Ducks. Again, just Tony Perkins, Umar Ballo, and Oregon is set, and that is 100% a tournament team. But something else that flew under the radar here, and when I say flew under the radar, I mean if you do a Google search of Oregon basketball commits or Oregon junior college transfer, it takes some serious digging. And shout out to Matt Prame for discussing this the other day. And I missed this because it took place back in October, but it's just not getting publicized anywhere. 24/7 Sports doesn't even have him up on Oregon's transfer commitment list. I think it's because they maybe don't do JUCO guys. I don't know. I don't know. But Oregon has 2 guys incoming, not just Ibrahim Traore, who is a 6'8" incoming freshman center, also originally from Mali. Just saying. So too was N'Faly Dante. So too is Umar Bala. But Dez Lindsay is Dana's at least first, maybe not last, but perhaps last. You know, Dana loves his JUCO guys in the portal. Well, Dez Lindsay is the guy who committed to Oregon back in October. We were all caught up in football and the season that they were having, and basketball hadn't even really gotten underway. And this took place. And I'll be honest, I missed it. And I just was struggling to find information on it because I saw Prame tweeting about it. And then I was like, when did that happen? And then I Googled it and I'm like, I'm not finding anything on this guy. I'm trying to track down stats and information, everything like that. But Lindsay is a 6'6" shooting guard from Florida Southwestern Junior College. I don't think there has been a year in recent memory in which Dana hasn't added at least one JUCO guy. He loves his junior college players. And you know what? With good reason. He's had a lot of success. Boucher was a junior college player. Chris Duarte was. Jadrian Tracy, of course, Bam Tracy, as he's known on this team. Like there have been others as well. It's just a staple of Dana Altman. And you know what? As I've said, I like Dana Altman, and it works. So at Florida Southwestern, Lindsay was about an 11-point-a-game score, 50% from the field, just 29% from 3. But I've seen Oregon make tremendous strides with guys as 3-point shooters, most notably Cario Oquendo. Was not a good 3-point shooter. That's one of the reasons that I was kind of on the fence about adding him to this year's team after Oregon had a historically bad year shooting the 3. I was like, man, they cannot hit a triple to save their life. Why are they bringing in a non-shooter? Well, Oquendo, and Kuznard's a good example of this as well. Oquendo upped his 3-point percentage considerably from last year to this year, and maybe they can do the same with Lindsay, but this is a guy who can score a little bit. He had 20 points in 3 of his final 4 games last year. He averaged 19 points per game in that stretch and went 5 of 16 from beyond the arc. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a 19-point-a-game scorer for the Ducks. I'm just saying the scoring potential is definitely there. I don't know if he's expected to be a starter. Like right now, without a guy like Tony Perkins from Iowa, who was second-team All-Big Ten this past season, you certainly would say Lindsay has a chance to be that starting 2 guard. Maybe it'd be Keyshawn Barthelemy. That'd be a really small backcourt, though. But I like having a guy who is a little bit of a slasher. Hopefully he's got a lot of buy-in at the defensive end. I can't find any film on these sorts of guys. It can be tough. Like Jay Harris coming from the D2 level, all you can get for highlights are some videos of like a local news story from his time at Northwest Missouri State. It's just the way of the world. But for those of you that are hoops fans out there, thought this should get noted because legitimately it is hard to know that Dez Lindsay is coming to Oregon, but that appears to be the plan, and at 6'6", he brings some, much needed size on the wing off the bench. And I still think Perkins and Ballo are the transfer needs that Oregon should go out and get. But those are the moves that they've made. So that's where things stand. They got to bring in at least one more They got to find a big. Got to find a big out there. Even if you think Traore can contribute a little bit as a freshman, there's got to be a transfer big out there that Oregon can go snag. I'd go Ballo as my number one priority. The guy from FAU who's 7'1" and has had a nice couple of years, I'd take him as well. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.